Hey there, it's Sandy. I recently sent you an email sharing what I discovered about what stops us from creating when we have, we have great ideas and then we don't take the action, we don't follow through. And what I discovered for myself was two things actually. The first one was that what helped me start to follow through was chunking things down into smaller steps. And then the second thing was realizing that there were certain patterns that I had that were sabotaging me over and over again. And when I actually started to see those patterns, what I call saboteurs, I started to get some freedom from that debilitating cycle of, inspiration, perfectionism, and disappointment because I wasn't creating what I wanted. So before I take you to the next step, let's just review these 6 saboteurs. So the first one is perfection, waiting for perfection to create something or launch something. And the antidote, how you can interrupt that pattern, is just do one thing. Take an action. A small action is better than no action. And you start to interrupt that very strong old brain pattern. The second saboteur is distraction. And oh my God, especially in today's social media world, we are distracted by everything, and then notifications and pinging sounds and private messages and how many inboxes do you now have, right? Everything is a distraction. And the antidote to that is to narrow your focus. Again, what's the one area that you can focus on so that you can get something done? The third saboteur, this was one that I used to know quite well, is guilt. Feeling guilty. If I do this thing, will it hurt other people? Will other people like it? What if they don't like me, etc.? And so the action that will interrupt that pattern is forgiveness. And often it was forgiving myself more than forgiving other people. Forgiving myself for not doing the thing that I wanted to do. The fourth saboteur is rationalization. This is when we make excuses. We rationalize why we're not taking action. And look, you know what? I tell my clients this all the time. You've got valid reasons. You're busy. Life is full. All those reasons are valid, and they are still keeping you from creating what you want in the world. That's the truth, yes? Number 5, overthinking. Ooh, this was a good one for me too. Overthinking. This is like analysis paralysis. Paralyzed, couldn't make a move. Now the antidote is to simplify. Simplify. Notice the pattern. Take one action. Focus on one area. Simplify. Chunk it down into something simple that you could do. And then the last one is changing your mind. That's such a common saboteur. It's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get started. And then as soon as I start, I have a better idea. And then I have to go back to the drawing board and start all over again. That is like a really, that's like such a good saboteur, because it even kind of feels good. Oh, but I have this other great idea. Let me go do that. Guess what? It's keeping you from creating anything, because that next great idea is going to be replaced by another great idea, and then nothing ever happens. What's the antidote to that? Is to trust yourself. Trust the idea that you got the idea. That for me, I take that as like a sign. I don't know how else to say it. It's like, if I'm getting the idea, something in there is meant for me and I'm going to follow through. That's how I am about that now. So those are the 6 saboteurs that I covered in my previous email. Here's what I want you to consider today. Which of those, and I asked this yesterday, but which of those is the most familiar, and how does it sabotage you? Like, if you really got clear and told the truth, how does it sabotage you? And then the next step is, what 3 things can you do to stop that sabotage, right? So think of the most familiar or strongest saboteur and then come up with 3 ways that you can stop it. And then start practicing. Like really, no kidding, as soon as you start to notice that saboteur, and here's what's great about this. Once you start to get this and you're seeing it in your life, you can't unsee it. You can't unknow that you're causing your own sabotage. And then something in you will change and start to work on interrupting that pattern. Because the truth is, it doesn't mean anything about you that you cause this sabotage. It's part of being human. It's part of the way that we, our brains work. It's our human way of keeping ourselves safe, because those great ideas, they come with risk, they come with change, and so there's a reason that our brain is trying to keep us safe. And what I want you to know is that you can actually have a great idea, create something, and launch it, put it out there in the world. It is possible. And in my next email, I'm going to share something else that will help you to move through that cycle of disappointment that often happens after you have a great idea. So until then, reply on this email and tell me 3 things that you're going to do that you can start to practice doing to interrupt that most familiar saboteur. And I'll see you soon.